Hello again, I am Murray the Artisan Rogue, and here is one of my recent pickups. This is a figure that has kind of a weird meaning for me. I happened to find this at one of my local toy stores, Brothers, and they had recently gotten, I don't know the whole story behind it, but I guess an estate clearance thing had happened. No, I think it was a guy cleaning out a collection, and there was a lot of stuff included in, from what I understand, including this very, very cool, sort of complete playset for Robotech. And believe me, I was looking at this thing hardcore. The box is in fantastic condition. But this was sitting over there on one of the shelves, and it was in its Warrensburg fighter format. Now, I've already transformed it, and unfortunately, a lot of the plastic, for any of you guys that collect, you know how brittle plastic can get. This is held up pretty good, and there are some metal joints and pins and things, and this I managed to pick up for $20. So thank you very much for Brothers for that price. That was fantastic. I'm so glad I got a chance to kind of geek out and talk about Robotech and Macross, and I was just so happy to finally get this. And when I say that, I have to put a little bit of an asterisk on that, because I never owned this before, and I am elated that I have this. It's for the most part complete. The joints, of course, are kind of loose, and it is missing one part here. If you look in the back, it's the other wing. Wasn't on there. Now, everything else, from what I can tell, looks like it is perfectly fine. It looks like it's good. There is a bit of a stress fracture right here, and that's not a deal breaker. I wanted this to be in Battleoid mode anyway, so this is fantastic. I'm over the moon when I can find things like this, but here's a specific reason why this was so important to me. When I was young, I had to be, a lot of us probably had parents that are like, look, you've already got G.I. Joe, or you got Thundercats, or you got Master of the Universe, or whatever. I liked a lot of different toy lines, just like a lot of people did, but I think I went even deeper. Like, I had a lot of different things, and one of the reasons for these videos is I've been wanting to share a lot of my personal collection from when I was younger. This is the primarily die-cast version of a similar. It's just smaller. And it's missing its foot. I think I know where this is in storage. The antenna's long since broken off on top. It's worse for the wear, and I think it had a component up here. In fact, I know it did, and that's fallen off. But otherwise, and I don't dare transform this one either. Now, the really, really bizarre part is that the wing that's missing is the opposite one on this one. Otherwise, I remember, I want to say when it was kind of an issue. I had wanted this, and I know that we were on pretty hard times, and my dad was nice enough to pick it up. And the memory that struck with me was this, and it's kind of weird. I'm going to share a small moment with you. When you're a kid, you don't really think about how much something costs. You just kind of want it. And my dad, at that point, I think it was kind of tight, for money and everything. He was still in the Air Force, but I think he was a tech sergeant at the time or something. And I really wanted it, and I just kind of pined over it, and he went ahead and bought it. But I remember when he got home, he was really upset, and I always felt bad about it. So this toy, although I loved Robotech, it left kind of a sour part in my life for me. I carried it around. I mean, Lord knows I played with this thing to hell. Like, I don't know if it's really showing up on here, but like most of the paint on here has been battle worn off. It's very loose. It is extremely loose. It's a well-loved toy, and absolutely one of my favorites. It doesn't even really hold its form as well as it used to. Right here, I'm not even sure how the hell that got damaged, but I've got to unscrew this and refix that before the stress gets too much more on the plastic. Nonetheless, that's one of the reasons why I was so excited for this one. I love this. There's a lot of memory behind it, and also that weird shit you do when you're a kid and you kind of guilt trip your parents or your grandparents into getting you something. But this one came about in a much better way for me. I now have my childhood memories next to my adult memories, but I remember my dad seeing this, and we at least had a chance to laugh it off. And he was like, yeah, I was broke as shit, and we had to cut back on groceries, but you got your toy, because I think he said it was $13 or $15. And that goes to show how tight it got for us in the 80s for a while, even with him being in the military. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but that was something. He was just in between paychecks, and that it just wasn't anything cheaper. But I was somehow convinced by one of my friends in school, because he had one, that it was only $5. And I know damn well this wasn't $5, not even back in the 80s. Like, I mean, it just wasn't. So that's the story behind that. And now I've got 2 of them, and I'm going to start working on my little Robotech display. What I've started to try and do here in the studio is I'm going to start putting together different collections, the Brave Star one, this, and just whatever I have is whatever I have. I might add a little bit more, but I'm not trying to do anything completionist or anything more than that. And as it is, there's some things I know that I just can't complete. This thing came with a gun, just like this one did. And of all the things that survived, that did. And it's still got the sticker. I remember applying those stickers. I remember this is pretty sturdy plastic, but of all the things, I thought this was, you know, something that would have broken by now. I don't think it's spring operated or anything. I think that's just a hole in there. I don't think there's anything going to that. But yeah, and for some reason, because this moves, and I was like, was that spring operated? Was there something in there? And I mean, if anyone knows, please correct me. I don't see anything in here that would say otherwise. And I actually haven't taken a look online. But it's kind of crazy that this survived. Now, the only reason I haven't crammed it in here is because this plastic is also a little dodgy. It's in really good shape. It isn't sun damaged or anything else like that, but now the hunt is on trying to find the same gun for this one. And I don't mind if it's a repro. I've started seeing that there's some great resin ones out there, so that's fantastic. But anyway, that's my quick little overview of this toy. Like I said, I would love to transform this thing, but just like that one, the plastic is really brittle, and like this, like a lot of my Transformers and GoBots, I'm not so sure I want to keep transforming them because the plastic has dried out, and especially ones that are secondhand like this one, they're just so player used and battle worn in their own ways, and I'm like, I'm just glad I got it to this point so it matches this one, and that's great. With that, thanks for watching. I am Ray the Artisan Rogue, and I'll catch you in the next toy overview I have. We'll see you then.